むさ苦しい男だらけの決闘大会か。
男だらけってほどじゃないよ。一人だけ女の子もいたし。
マジっすか？可愛い子でした？
ふーん。ルーデウス君はそうなんだね。
あれ、フィッツ先輩？フィッツ先輩
Badiadi, yes. All right, so we have to admit this episode was incredible. And when it talked about the despaired fiance or whatever this episode was called, I in no way, shape, or form didn't think it was talking about 𝐒𝐡𝐴 okay? I didn't think for a moment it was referencing her whatsoever. I was thinking it was referencing Sophie, number one, or potentially Roxy, or maybe there's some other like fourth girl out there somewhere that Rudy has yet to have met. Maybe he's, engaged somehow, some way to some. I thought this could have gone a bunch of different ways than which way it went. But I was not disappointed. And honestly, there's no way I'm going to fit in all my opinions in 10 minutes. So I'm going to do my very best. But one of the things I really liked about the episode quite a bit is, we have Linnea and we have Prasenna, okay? And both of them are telling Rudy, like, yo, he's basically the leader of the pack now. Like, he has to take ownership. And I wonder what's going to happen with that exactly. The fact that he has such heavy ties into the Doldia tribe now. And they basically said, like, yo, you daddy now. You got to take care of us. And, like, what's he going to do with that in the long run? And, will Linnea and Prasenna be two individuals maybe after he gets over his, erectile dysfunctionalities over there? Will they, be in the mix there whatsoever? Now, my natural thing is no, but it doesn't mean maybe he has a little fun or something like that. So we have that whole entire situation. We have him having to go and fight a bunch of beast men and a bunch of just people who are both of these girls' suitors. Incredibly amazing. And then obviously Badiadi ends up coming through, or Badi, what is his actual name? Badiadi, yadi, 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 yadi. Freaking what? It's so ridiculous. But he ends up coming through, and I'll get to that in a minute. But like they basically say like, yo, Rudy, you gotta go take on everybody. Then you have in that mix, there's two things that are unique to me. One, you had a blue hair girl, who was following, very Roxy-esque, right? So maybe Roxy isn't the one to pull him out, but maybe somebody who kind of looks like Roxy is. But you had a girl who has blue hair who was following the Beast Dude around and kind of like stalking Rudy a bit. He didn't really pay attention to her whatsoever. And in another scene, we had Sophie, who was talking to Rudy about all the Beast Dudes and everything else. And he was like, oh, well, among their suitors, there's actually one girl. And I love that scene. I think that scene was the best scene of the show, of this episode, specifically this episode. But like he tells her like, oh, was she cute though? He's like, yo, was she cute? And you can see Sophie just be like, this mother, and she's like, she's just snickering the whole time. And I thought that was hilarious. She's like, and it's like, yo, you can't be mad at the boy. You're not even around, you know what I mean? Like, you're half a decade out. Like, you can't even be mad at the boy, but she mad. She big mad. It's like, yo, go tell him the truth then, if you that mad. But anyways, he's like, yo, she cute though? So I think that blue-haired girl is being referenced. So I wonder if she's going to come up again in some way, shape, or form. Now, the one thing to know, too, is next episode's called The White Mask. So I think that's referencing the black-haired girl that was with Orpheus? Or what was his name? Orpheus? What the hell was that guy's name? The dragon god? Is it Orpheus? No. I'm messing up. I didn't write it down. God dang it. Orpheus. Orpheus is that's a persona. That's a demon from anyways. Orsted. So, the girl that was with Orsted, the Nakahashi, Jesus Christ. Names are hard, y'all. It's, when you review anime, guys, it's hard to remember 19,000 different character names. And when you need them, you just don't get them. And then after I'm done hitting record, I'm like, oh, that was her name, Nanahashi or something. I don't know, whatever. But I'm assuming the next episode's referencing her. I'm assuming that she's at the school for some reason, some way, somehow. So I don't know if blue hair girl is her, but I wonder where blue hair girl's gonna come up. And Nanahashi, whatever, Nanahoki, Nanahashi. It seems that their next episode's referencing her, so she's going to come back in the mix. So that I think is really interesting as well too. But the scene with Sophie getting big mad, I loved, and I thought was just incredible. Other thing with Mr. Badiadi, Mr. Badiadi, I love how at the end, Rudy, he put up a death flag, essentially. He's like, yo, I ain't never gonna see that guy again. We're gone. And he shows up like as a student, as a teacher, not really sure, but he shows up again. And I think he's just really there. He wasn't there at the school for Persena, or he wasn't there for any of them. He was there for Rudy. And he thought this was a good opportunity to go and challenge Rudy in the midst of all the things that was happening. And I love how Rudy, during the challenge for Badiadi, was referenced as being stronger than Laplace, who was this, big, really strong guy. And he has more mana, like one of the world's finest mana capacities. And I like how Rudy, he effed this dude up. You know what I mean? And I think if he was fighting him for real, I think he could win at this point. But definitely this Badiadi guy has some stuff to teach him, so I'm assuming that's why he's sticking around. Also, during their fight, I really loved how Rudy mentioned the man god, and he was like, yo, I'm about to mention somebody. I was dying at this. He's like, I'm about to mention somebody. I don't work for them. I don't have affiliation with them. I don't, no, like, I don't, if they're in trouble, I ain't gonna save them. He's like, don't kill me if I mention their name. And he's like, I ain't gonna do it. And he's like, yo, do you know the Muffin Man? I mean, do you know the man god? And he's like, how do you know that name? And he basically pleaded the fifth. Then again, he mentioned Orsted, and he got Badiadi's attention, at this point. So I thought that was all really, really cool. And mind you, we're 6 minutes into me recording this video, and like I'm only talked about, 35% of the show so far. Again, be mindful of time. I also loved the whole entire so Cliff had a thing for Eris for quite some time, and his animosity towards Rudy is because of Eris and because of the dream that Eris sold him on. Well, that didn't last that long because he saw a little elf girl called Elena Lee's Dragon Road, and he like he's like he's like Rudy, Leo, hook your boy up, Rudy. Everybody's like, yo, what the F? Okay, dude. So I like how Rudy at the moment went to Sophie to go and ask advice. I like how Sophie like, yo, who you crushing on, bro? He's like, no, not me. I like how Sophie was like, yo, okay. I love this whole thing. I like how Sophie keeps getting mad, but yet tell your boy the truth then. But regardless, I like that whole entire scene. And I like how Rudy ends up, he saves him from bullies and stuff, so he gets his thanks, but then Cliff, gets a pair of balls on him and goes like, yo, you got to introduce me to your girl. And I like how Elena Lise and Rudy had their conversation. She's like, yo, what about my curse? What do you want me to do? She's like, he's like, let him down, but tell him the truth about you. Don't be a liar. Just be straight up. And I was in my head too when that happened. I was like, yo, I bet Cliff is like, ain't no problem. We'll work it out. We'll work through it, And she's like, okay, I'm gonna try to control myself for you, boo. And just it's so like, yo, she must have been through thousands of individuals at this point. Sometimes 10 at a time or something. It's wild. So your boy Cliff got hooked up. And of course he did the most simpy thing ever when he got bullied. He was trying to defend her honor kind of thing. It's like, yo, you can't defend a hoe, you know what I mean? Like, and even Rudy's like, yo, you can't defend that, bro. Like, they right, you wrong. Just hilarious stuff. And then Rudy comes into class and he expects them just to be like, you're not even there, and they boot up, you know what I mean? It's just like, it was crazy. Very last thing I'll say to take up the last part of my time is one of the last things I loved about this episode was the fact that we got a lot of stills and screenshots. And normally I'm a stickler about, stills and screenshots. But one of the things that Mushoku does so well is through those stills, through those screenshots, through those still images that we're getting panned on, it really contextualizes and breathes a breath of fresh air into the world we got to see Rudy, go through a standard day in the school of going to class and eating lunch and seeing different ongoings in the school and dances and musical stuff. And like, it was awesome to see how it could contextualize through just, 12 little still images. Like, you just get an idea of what this school life is all about. And it's incredible. And like, I don't know, like for me, Mushoku is one of those ones that it can't do any wrong. I love this show. I'm sure the people who get butthurt about everything but watch still, and then they complain on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you call it now. Like, I'm sure those weirdos are still, I don't take part of that in Reddit or in Twitter. Like, I have those pages, but I don't go seek out anime opinions. I don't have the time. But I'm sure the weirdos are out, complaining about the sexualized OP or whatever. It's very sensual. I like the OP quite a bit. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're complaining about the girls being submissive to Rudy, and Rudy, he's having a field day in class, touching them all up and stuff. I'm sure they're going crazy about all that stuff. What I'll say to you, enjoy what you enjoy, period, the end. Don't let weirdos, 0.01% ever ruin a good thing. All right, my friends. Much love to y'all. Be good out there. I'll see you next week. Also, sorry about this episode being late. I was on vacation. Peace.